I'm Shakirom from Imperial College London. I'm the president of the World Federation of Neurology.
Dr. Shakir, what's the main difference between Russian and foreign neurological schools, in your opinion, and our schools?
Differences are, you see, if you look at differences, you have to go back to history and you go back to tradition and you go back to, and then how did each catch up with modern development? Generally speaking, Russian neurology has caught up very well. In the last 20 years, there has been major advances in the world, and Russian neurologists are really up to the level of their colleagues in the area in Europe and in Asia. Of course, the availability of resources are different, the availability of investigations are different, the availability of managements are different. And then we come to the most important issue, which is perhaps availability of high quality service in big cities compared to the country and smaller cities. And in many countries in Western Europe, this difference is now very little and negligible. In this country, because it's such a vast, huge, massive country, that is impossible. But still, it can be covered as it is in other countries, like big country like Canada, for instance, where they utilize a lot of telemedicine. And even thrombolysis is done on telemedicine in acute stroke. So Russia will catch up, but the basic neurological expertise is available. So I see no major problems there at all, but I see issues with governmental funding and support, both from the service side and from the academic side.
Okay. What are the most difficult questions in modern neurology? Can you say?
Questions. There are still conditions and diseases where we don't have understanding of the physiology, of the pathology that has led to them. I mean, there are many good examples. ALS, or motor neuron disease, is a condition we are learning more and more about, but it's still a killer condition where we are not really made any headway in management. Even a condition where there are, I think, 11 or 12 drugs like multiple sclerosis, we haven't really got to the basic pathophysiology of the etiology of the genetics. Why is demyelination happening? How is it propagated? And we are hitting what we think is the demyelinating cause with drugs that block various parts of the immune system. And you have here two Norwegian experts on MS who will tell us about these drugs. But is it the answer? When interferon started, it's 26, 27 years ago. And now the original ones are being slowly abandoned. And now we have oral preparations, which are really difficult to use by the general neurologist because of their major side effect profiles. The difficulty in our field are much better than when I started neurology 45 years ago, but they have improved a lot, but there's still a lot to be done. And the future lies in genetics. The most difficult thing is I started my interest in epilepsy in 1973. But epilepsy is not one condition. Now we know. It's a huge number of heterogeneous conditions with various causes and various expressions of disease, which require different and more varied treatment. And that is the problem. The world is moving on. So people like yourselves, young medical doctors, when you practice in 10 years, you will practice in a completely different world. And you will be narrower and narrower in your way of practice, whether it's in branches of neurology or any other specialty you might want to choose.
And the last questions, have you some change indication programs for Russian neurologists?
Well, for Russian neurologists, that is, the training programs you have in this country produce specialists which get jobs and progress in your healthcare system. What is we can do is to provide additional education for you, which is, for instance, we have the Americans Academy of Neurology providing free of charge, it's completely free of charge to Russian doctors and to doctors in Africa, Latin America, their education system, which is continuum, which is available to you. That will give you an idea of what is being taught now in the United States, in Latin America, in Europe. And then we now have degrees that we have in Europe. The European Union is producing specialty exams as well, which anybody can take, including yourself. The problem you face there is language, because these are in English. These are in English. Even the ones in Europe are in English. And for a young Russian doctor, if he or she wants to progress in their lives internationally or academically in their own world, they have to speak reasonable scientific English, not necessarily fluent English, but scientific English where they can read, understand, and produce a paper in English with help. So I think the future is very good. I have seen this country over many, many decades, and there is a huge openness now and eagerness to learn, which has always been the case with Russian neurologists. Everybody is very eager and very interested. And this is why I love coming here, and I like especially talking to young people, because that is the future.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
It was so interesting. It's a great honor for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for asking me.